Hey guys, welcome back to my Ball Python Spotlight series, and today we have Oreo, who is my silver bullet big female. She's super cinnamon and pastel, and that's what a silver bullet is. Now, this girl has a special place in my heart for a couple of reasons. The second one is she was actually the first ball python to ever bite me. She is not overly aggressive when you open up her tub, but she is very activated or turned on by the scent of rodents. And when she smells the rodents in the room when I'm feeding everybody, she knows they're there and she's waiting at the front of the tub. She must have smelt it on me one time, and she bit me like kind of right here in the meat of the hand and actually coiled up on me like I was a rat. So I must have had the scent on me. But the real reason that she is has a place in my heart is I actually got her in a trade with somebody locally. I had a blood python that was just too crazy for me. I bought it as a hatchling and was just way too much work and way too aggressive for me. And with the kids in the house, I didn't want to have a snake like that. I wasn't going to assume that I was going to tame it down. And I was looking for a silver bullet, and luckily somebody locally had one. I got her, and she was supposed to be like 4 or 5 months old and wasn't even 50 grams. She was extremely underweight. She didn't look like super emaciated, but you could tell that, if she was supposed to be 3 or 4 months old, she shouldn't have still been 50 grams or so. So as you can see, I've had her, I think, for 2 years at this point. I think I got her maybe in the fall of 2019. So as you can see, she likes kissing. She's doing well for herself. She is thriving. She's probably 2,500 grams at this point. She eats frozen thawed. They're like her favorite little popsicles, and she never refuses a meal. She eats in shed, and she finally started locking up with Danky King Jr. this week. I've been pairing them up the whole season and have never seen a single lock with them, and for some reason something clicked with her this last week and they started locking up, which is awesome, because with urban camos you only need to have 1 copy of Pastel, but you have to have 2 copies of Cinnamon. And with her being super cinnamon, she's guaranteed to pass on a copy of that. So it kind of greatens the likelihood of us creating urban camos with this. And she's a big girl too. She's obviously not proven because she wasn't old enough before this year to breed. But she is definitely big enough to breed and healthy enough to breed. And hopefully we get something really, really, really cool out of this combo if they decide to breed. But this is what a silver bullet looks like. And the reason I call her Oreo is because she kind of, if I can get her out here, kind of looks like cookies and cream. She has a really cool pattern. She's not really black. It's kind of a really, really, really dark brown, like a dark mocha color. But she has these little kind of Oreo cream colors to her. And I actually have a second girl of these, and I call her Oreo, but instead of the E being an E, I put the number 2. Actually, I can just show it to you. Here's her name tag. It's just with the 2 instead of an E. And they look pretty much alike. Let me get her out to show you. I don't think she has as many big kind of creamy spots. She's more speckling than Oreo. She doesn't have like these big kind of yellowy cream spots. But so I have 2 of them going, and I'm assuming that if this girl, probably the mid-season, will be big enough to breed, I might end up getting a new home for the sterling female, just because she hasn't bred for me yet, and the silver streak laid 13 eggs for me. Breeding urban camo maker male to super cinnamons is probably the better way to go than breeding it to super pastel cinnamons. So, this girl's actually a lot darker. She's probably 1.5 years, 2 years old. So her color and pattern shouldn't change a whole lot more. As you can see, side by side, they're pretty close in color. But there isn't a whole lot of variation between these two, other than she doesn't have as big patches like the yellowy white color, whereas she does. She doesn't. These spots are nice and big. She just has little tiny speckles like that. And that also kind of, going back to my sterling lesser female, this is sort of the color that she has on her sides, where she's all yellow. So it makes sense that, if she's just a sterling and lesser, that she would be this color yellow. My Ring doorbell has to go off in the middle of the video. But these are what silver bullets look like, super cinnamon pastels. They're some of my favorite snakes. They're pretty dark. I have one snake that's a little darker, and I'll show her in the next video. But this is one of the easier to find dark snakes that you can get. So, super cinnamon pastels. They come out really pretty. They're really pretty snakes. Now, the one thing I did notice with them, and they both do it, so I don't know if this is a birth defect or just something Super Cinnamon does. If I can get her up here. When they flick their tongues sort of flick up. If the camera's pulling that. Like their tongue flicks up when it comes out of their mouth. So I don't know if that's... this smaller female does it a little more than the bigger one. But she definitely... She's not gonna sit to the camera. Her tongue kind of flicks. I don't know if you saw that. It sort of flicks up instead of straight out. So it's sort of one of those things where I don't know if it's just an issue with her, or if it's a Super Cinnamon thing or not. But very, very cool snakes. Some of my favorite in the collection. And again, she is one of those snakes where I will probably keep her here forever. She's sort of like my little baby. I actually think at this point, with like turnover, I think she's actually kind of been here longer than any other snakes that I currently own. So she's kind of like my old lady. So Oreo is not going anywhere, and hopefully she produces some really cool urban camos for us this season. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.